Good afternoon, everybody. At the outset, I devotedly reminisce the Guru Parampara of Sri Suthurumat. I submit my humble pranams to His Holiness Jagadguru Sri Shivaratri Deshi Kendra Mahaswamiji. We have gathered here for the webinar titled Nurturing Leadership. It's worth mentioning here that the webinar has received a good response with more than 500 registrations. Like every other auspicious occasion, let me start this program by offering prayer. I call upon Kumari Sushmita Madappa for rendering invocation. Welcome you, Sushmita.
Thank you, ma'am. ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. ಗಣನಾಯಕಾಯ ಗಣದೈವತಾಯ ಗಣಾಧ್ಯಕ್ಷಾಯ ಧೀಮಹಿ ಗುಣಶರೀರಾಯ ಗುಣಮಂಡಿತಾಯ ಗುಣೇಶಾನಾಯ ಧೀಮಹಿ ಗುಣಾತೀತಾಯ ಗುಣಾಧೀಶಾಯ ಗುಣಪ್ರವಿಷ್ಟಾಯ ಧೀಮಹಿ एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गजेशानाय बालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि गानचतुराय गानप्राणाय गानात्मरात्मने गानोत्सुकाय गानमत्ताय गानोत्सुकमनसे गुरुपूजिताय गुरुदैवताय गुरुकुलस्थायिने गुरुविक्रमाय गुह्यप्रवराय गुरवे गुरुदैत्यकलक्षेत्रे गुरुधर्मसदाराध्याय गुरुपुत्र परिश्चात्रे गुरुकाण्डपिण्डकाय गीतसाराय गीततत्त्वाय गीतगोत्राय धीमहि गूढगुल्फाय गन्धमत्ताय गौजयप्रदाय धीमहि गुणातीताय गुणाधीशाय गुणप्रविष्टाय धीमहि एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय गौरीतनयाय धीमहि गणेशानाय भालचन्द्राय श्रीगणेशाय धीमहि ग्रन्थगेयाय ग्रन्थगेयाय ग्रन्थात्मरात्मने गीतलीनाय गीताश्रयाय गीतवाद्यपटवे दीयचरिता गवराय गन्धर्व प्रिय कृपे गायगादीन विग्रहाय गंगा जल प्रणयवते गौरीस्तनन्दनाय गौरी हृदयनन्दनाय गौरभानु सुताय गौरी गणेश्वराय एकदन्ताय वक्रतुण्डाय धीमहि गौरी प्राणाय गौरभावाय धीमहि नमस्कार.
Thank you, Sushmita. Now I request Dr. H.P. Suresh, Dean Academic, to welcome the privileged guests and participants. Welcome you, sir. Yes.
Good afternoon, everyone. On the threshold, I submit my pranams to the Guru Parampara of Sri Suthurumat and His Holiness Jagadguru Sri Shivaratri Deshi Kendra Mahaswamiji. The webinar, Nurturing Leadership, has been conceived and conceptualized considering the prevailing conditions in the post-pandemic world. COVID-19 has not only let loose a chaotic scenario, but also resulted in an anarchic situation. Hence, the ability of astute leadership is brought to the center stage as never before. Kautilya's Arthashastra, written centuries ago, throws light on the capabilities and possibilities of an effective leadership during the crisis. Keeping this in mind, the webinar is organized. Dr. C.J. Bessurmat, Executive Secretary, JSS Mahavidyapita, has kindly consented to inaugurate the webinar and share his valuable thoughts. As we all know, Dr. C.G. Betsurmat is an able administrator and has proved his acumen as administrator in various capacities under the government of Karnataka. His strong inclination for cleanliness is familiar to everyone who works in JSS Mahavidyapita. The city of Mysuru won the award for one of the cleanliest cities in India when Dr. C.G. Betsurmat was the Commissioner of Mysuru City Corporation. It's a testimony to his astute leadership. On behalf of the college, I extend a warm welcome to you, sir. It's my privilege to welcome Professor Morabada Mallikarjun, Director, College Education Division, JSS Mahavidyapita. I welcome you, sir. I feel proud to welcome Shri B. Niranjana Murthy, Assistant Director, College Education Division, JSS Mahavidyapita. I welcome you, sir. With great pleasure, I welcome Professor B.V. Sambashivaya, Chief Executive, JSS College, Uti Road, Mysuru. A warm welcome to you, sir. I am privileged to welcome Professor K. Suresh, Chief Executive, JSS Law College Autonomous. I welcome you, sir. I am glad to welcome our principal, Dr. K.V. Suresha, who has left no stones unturned in organizing this webinar. I welcome you, sir. I extend a hearty welcome to the resource persons, Professor S. Ramesh, Professor Regiman Thomas, Professor G. Venkatesh Kumar, and Professor B.K. Punia. A pleasantful welcome to each one of you, sir. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome the technical experts from JSS Academy of Higher Education and Research who are kind enough to share their technical expertise in organizing this webinar. The team is led by Dr. R. Ravindra. I welcome you and your team, sir. It is pleasing to note that more than 400 members of faculty and students from PG centers have registered for the webinar. I personally extend a warm welcome to the concerned principals and their respective staff members to the webinar. A warm welcome to each and everyone. Thank you. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. C.G. Betsurmat, sir, to formally inaugurate the webinar and address the participants. I welcome you, sir.
At the outset, I offer my respectful pranams to Sutturu Guru Parampare. I also offer my pranams to the visionary Sriman Maharaj Rajaguru Tilaka, His Holiness Jagat Guru Dr. Sri Shivaratri Rajendra Mahaswamiji. My humble pranams to His Holiness Jagat Guru Sri Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji, who is an educationist, a social reformer, thinker, innovator, collaborator, religious leader, religious harmonizer, and a social influencer. Distinguished speakers, Dr. S Ramesh, Mount Carmel College, Bangalore, Dr. Regiman Thomas, resource persons, Principal Dr. K.V. Suresh, Dean Academics Dr. H.B. Suresh, principals of other degree colleges of JSS Mahavidyapita, faculty and staff of different colleges, all participants, my colleagues, invitees. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this webinar. This webinar is the need of the hour. Out of more than 400 participants who have already registered, I think majority of you are academicians, few of you are administrators holding principals post, and the CEs, chief executives, then deans, few of you are HODs. And this webinar is for you, I must say. And it gives me an immense pleasure to inaugurate this webinar and to be with you all on this occasion of the inauguration of a webinar on the topic nurturing leadership. Leadership what is leadership? Leadership is an art, we say, and it is not a science. Rather than science, it is an art. It is a set of innate traits, refined and perfected over time with education, training, and experience. And there are several books. There are classes going on education and training. Not everyone can be a leader, just like not everyone can become a good actor. And to be a leader in a structured environment, one needs some formal training also. Leadership can be defined in general as a process by which a person influences others to accomplish objectives or a goal. How? By guiding them to ensure a cohesive and coherent direction. And that is why Dr. Peter Northaus defines leadership as a process whereby an individual influences a group of individuals in a new way to achieve a common goal. Friends, we are into the 21st year of 21st century. It is a century of massive change. It's a century of extraordinary time. It is a century of extremes and surprises. It is a critical century. It is a make century. It is a break century also. You have to excel or exit. And we all know that we are already embarked on the fourth industrial revolution. And it is clear that technology is playing a central role in nearly all aspects of our lives. And the disruptive digital technologies, they are all causing a radical shift in the way we work, live, learn, and play. And the contours of education are also changing. It has become global, it is multidisciplinary, and it is collaborative. And there is a need to provide an education that is relevant to the 21st century, and this itself is a greatest challenge. And we have to prepare the students for the 21st century, and it is not just about technology or skills for the global economy. It is more about bringing creativity, innovation, civic engagement, communication, productivity, collaboration, accountability, exploration, initiative, responsibility, leadership, cultural awareness, problem solving, and many more. There is a need now to build a system of education that is flexible, creative, and challenging. And in this regard, researching, analyzing, synthesizing, critiquing, evaluating, and creating new knowledge, they should and must become the integral parts of our curricular and co-curricular activities. So in this situation, now we have to think of what type of leadership you need and what type of leader you want to become, and what type of leadership qualities you want to have. Dr. Suresh in the beginning mentioned about the pandemic situation, and looking back to 2020, we can say that we have come through quarantines and lockdowns by maintaining social distancing, self-masking, sanitizing, online teaching and learning despite disruptions and confinements in our personal space. The world has endured much pain and it has suffered great losses in almost everything. And the COVID-19 outbreak has left its mark on almost all spheres of life, including education. And the current crisis has pushed colleges to switch on to online platforms overnight to ensure that learning does not get affected. We are seeing a forced reliance on digital education. Faculty and students are putting in their efforts to get used to online mode of learning. So in this situation, we have to think how we should go ahead. So in this situation, what type of leadership qualities we should have? In the Globe research across 60 countries, the leader attributes conclusions were that integrity, charisma, inspirational, visionary, encouraging, positive confidence, builder, dynamic foresight, effective team building, communicating, coordinating, decisive, intelligent, and win-win problem solver. These are the attributes required. And these attributes are a combination of personality, character, skill, communicative ability, and emotional intelligence. And therefore, a leader is born, developed, skilled in communications, and cultivated through life experiences. So, across the globe, leadership has become a subject of serious discussion, and that's why we are here today. Study and research. Universities now have centers of leadership. Number of books written on leadership has been growing rapidly. And leadership is both a research area and a practical skill encompassing the ability of an individual or organization to lead or guide other individuals, teams, or the entire organization. So it is also said, effective leadership is not about making speeches or being liked. It is defined by results, not attributes. Next. And there is a leadership style also. And what is leadership style? It is the leader's style. It is a leader's style of providing direction, implementing plans, and motivating people. It is a result of the philosophy, personality, and experience of the leader. So we come across 17 leadership styles: visionary leadership, bureaucratic leadership, directing leadership, paternal and maternal. It is like fatherly and motherly leadership, situational, then participative, transformational, transactional, servant leadership, autocratic leadership, hands-off leadership, democratic leadership, coaching leadership, strategic leadership, laissez-faire leadership, charismatic leadership, and pace-setter leadership. Now we have to decide what type of leadership style you want to adopt during the current situation. So leadership means different things to different people around the world and different things in different situations. Leadership is a concept. As a concept has been evolving over centuries. Leadership is not Leadership is not next up and most read. So leadership is not just about the head of the organization or the captain of the team. It is about you and me and all of us. So everyone is a leader in the situation, and it so happens that some people lead teams and some lead companies and some lead countries, but we all lead a life. So great leaders relish a challenge, and leaders are the achievers, and achievers are great believers, it is said. And there are motivated leaders. They desire to achieve above and beyond expectations, and this comes from their passion, pride, and desire. Great leaders have the ability to inspire their team and make sure that they know what they are doing. It has a bigger impact than they realize. So here, willpower, determination, consistency, and willingness to learn, they play important roles in your competence as a leader. Great leaders believe that success is something to be shared with everyone, because there is no I in this team. So leaders, it is also said, don't create followers. They create more leaders. So in this regard, there is a requirement of a PhD. So PhD is the leader's mantra for success. It stands for passion, hunger, and discipline. We have to get them all, and we have to see the difference. Now, regarding the leadership qualities and attributes, honesty and integrity, they are the supreme quality of leadership, and unquestionably, the integrity plays an important role here. And without that, no real success is also possible. Inspire, you have to inspire others. Probably, this is the most difficult job for a leader, to persuade others to follow by setting a good example. So in this regard, you have to think positive, and you have to stay calm under pressure and keep the motivation level up. And if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, and you are the leader. So commitment and passion, they're also important. Your teams look up to you, and if you want them to give them their all, you will have to be passionate. When your teammates see you getting your hands dirty, they will also give their best shot, and it will also help you to gain the respect of your subordinates and infuse a new energy in your team members, which helps them to perform better. Decision making and capabilities. Apart from having a futuristic vision, you should have the ability to take the right decision at the right time. And you should remember, once the decision is taken, you have to stand by it. And in this regard, it is also recommended that you should consult the key stakeholders before taking any decision. And the most important leadership quality is accountability. A good leader takes little more than his share of the blame and little less than his share of the credit. So make sure that every one of your subordinates is accountable. Holding them accountable for their actions will create a sense of responsibility. And the next most important quality is delegation and empowerment. So you have to keep focus on the key responsibilities. So if you continue micromanage, that will develop a lack of trust. And more importantly, it will not be able to focus on more important matters. And provide all your subordinates, all your colleagues, all the resources and support they need to achieve the objective, and give them the chance to bear the accountability. Creativity and innovation, again, is most important leadership quality. Steve Jobs says, innovation distinguishes between a leader and the follower. And in order to get ahead of today's fast changing world, a leader must be creative and innovative. Otherwise, he has to exit. Creative thinking and constant innovation is what makes you and your team stand out from the crowd. Empathy is again one more important quality. Leaders should develop empathy with the followers, and they have to understand the problems of the followers, and feeling their pain is the first step to become an effective leader. Now everyone has got a vision. You have the vision, but stick to it. Effective leaders have a clear vision of what success will look like a specific time period, in a specific time period. They know how to plan for it, how to communicate and direct it, and how to implement it also. They also know that their vision has to be actionable and measurable. Now, you have to stay positive and energetic also. The top performers, they have this attitude towards the future, and their drive, determination, optimism, and passion are contagious. And we have to cultivate the habit of positiveness. You need energy in the atmosphere, and the top performance, they also understand that it starts with them every single day. And next most important is that you have to learn continuously. Continuously, you have to learn and improve also. At this moment, I remember the great saying of Mahatma Gandhi. He says, a man educated yesterday and stopped learning today will be uneducated tomorrow. So today's high performers are also like that. They recognize that the leadership skills are not exclusively intuitive. They are constantly honed. And that's why the top leaders, they make it a habit to seek out leadership development opportunities. And for some, this might include reading books or attending. There are several books available now. Attending seminars. And for the others also, it might include visiting with other leaders whom they admire. Passion, we already discussed about this. Never be satisfied always. Want to push to do something bigger, better and greater. Innovation is essential not only for success, but for also survival. Emotional intelligence also plays an important role here. And the most effective leaders, they're all alike in one crucial way. They all have a high degree of emotional intelligence. So in practical terms, it means that being aware that emotions can drive our behavior and they impact people positively and negatively. At the same time, you have to be different, daring to be different. So just don't talk about risk-taking, but take risks. You have to be proactive and not reactive. Great leaders prepare themselves not for the comfortable predictability of yesterday, but for the realities of today and the unknown possibilities of tomorrow. Communication, again, is one of the important qualities of good leadership. It is vital for the leaders, and a good communicator can be a good leader also. And most importantly, you have to remember that a large part of communication involves listening, particularly developing your active listening skills. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is being conscious of what you are good at while acknowledging what you still have to learn. Now you can see these pictures, both pictures at the left side. How others see you is not important. How you see yourself means everything. So cat can think that is a lion. Here also in the chest, you may think of it, you can visualize like a king. So this is most important. Self-awareness is most important, and how you think is important. So this includes admitting when you don't have the answer and owning up your mistakes. Now, there are several myths about leadership, and there are several truths also about leadership. So it is said, leaders are born, they are not made. But the truth is that leaders are made, not born. Leadership is hierarchical, it is said. It is a myth. Leadership occurs at all levels. You have to have charisma is a myth, and charisma is not a prerequisite, it is a truth. There is one standard way, it is said, not one right way to lead. It is a myth that it is impossible to be a manager and leader, but you can lead and manage is the truth. So all you need is common sense to lead, but the truth is that leadership is a discipline that is teachable. Now, we will discuss something about this first myth and its truth. Leaders are born, not made. Leaders are made, not born. Let us see what is the truth. So great leaders, it is a controversy here. Great leaders are born, not made. Some say great leaders are made, they are not born. You can see a king is not born, he is made. And you can see this picture, this girl on the left side is a herding ship. She was a girl herding a ship in Morocco. And this woman on the right side is the same girl 20 years later as the finance minister, as the France's Minister of Education. So leader is made there. So leaders are born, not made also it is said. Great man's theory and right theories, they believe that people inherit certain qualities and traits that make them better suited to the leadership. So born or natural leaders are different to made or artificial leaders, and all remarkable leaders have great history behind them. They were leaders from the onset of their journey. So leaders are made, not born. Behavioral theories also believe that people can become leaders through the process of teaching, learning and observation. Leadership is a set of skills that can be learned by training, perception, practice, and experience over time. Leadership learning is lifetime activities. So research by psychologists, they have proved that the leaders are mostly made. And it is also estimated that leadership is about 1/3 born and 2/3 made. Are leaders born or made? This is a false dichotomy, and leaders are neither born nor made. Leaders choose to be leaders. It is a quote by Stephen Covey. And again, leaders are not born or made, they are self-made, is another quote by Stephen Covey. There is also a saying in leadership literature that you have to be perfect. Perfection is for progression. You can just see how wisely, how perfectly this picture is shown. It has been taken in a bucket. You find Taj Mahal here, how perfect is the photography. It is also said perfection is the enemy of the progress. So pleasure in the job puts perfection in the work, Aristotle says. And there was one important question that was asked in a seminar, or it was asked why employees don't discuss about their problems and frustrations with their management. And one of the participants said the best answer was from a really frustrated employee: you cannot discuss your malaria problems with your mosquitoes. This should not happen. There will be mistakes, failures, insult, frustration, and rejections are part of the progress and growth of our life. And nobody ever achieved everything worthwhile without facing these 5 things. They are mistakes, failures, insult, frustration, and rejections. And success is the result of perfection, hard work, learning from failure, loyalty, and persistence. It is the hard work, passion, and constant and consistent improvement that results into success. I came across these 2 files, and how mistakes are done, I'll just tell you. In one file for writing, reporting, it was that mistake, a great mistake. You can laugh also here. You can see reporting was written as reporting. And I was in fact shocked to see in one file this, for this anti-ragging, it was a report on anti-ragging, and the spelling mistake was ant-ragging. I was surprised. Ants are also ragged. Now, again, regarding perfection, you can see this photograph, how perfectly it is taken. And here the arrows then center the wheel. And this is the most important. There is a drop of water on a leaf, and there are 12 ants. They are drinking from this drop of water. And the amazing thing is how they have divided into 4 groups of 3 ants each. to balance the leaf so that the water drop would not slide off. And small wonders of nature, they cease to amaze. And this is the type of coordination we need in our organization. We also say that governance is an art. Art means A stands for accountability, R stands for responsibility, and T stands for transparency. And we have to remember these 8 attributes: dedication, hard work, integrity, trust, devotion, sincerity, honesty, and ownership. They play a major role. And this again is you all have seen this. This is a Harding circle. This is also called as, it was called as R gate. And this entire circle was developed and the statue was installed, Jayachamraja Wadeyar statue. And now this circle, entire circle is called as Jayachamraja Wadeyar circle. This we could complete as a Commissioner of Mysore Corporation in 10 months. But you can see the photography. You can see all the 6 roads here. So perfection asks your time and your hard work. And again, it's a responsibility that you can see this picture. It is a responsibility that makes you mature, not your age. Now coming to the work, we say every day work, work, work. So what is work? Work is something that we do all through life, from birth to death. And even sitting idle or lying in the bed is an activity. A work, breathing, digesting, sleeping, there are so many. So all these activities are work that goes on with or without our consent. It is only in the death that work truly ceases. And work is unavoidable. We should do it with pleasure, with interest, with involvement, with joy and devotion. When we do any activity with happiness, acceptance, joy and humility, and when we are not bothered about the outcome of the work, so work is really worship. You can see these pictures, how they are toiling. There is no alternative to hard work. God helps those who help themselves. And our work must be creative and it must have some humble base also and should be useful and wholesome for the society. What Gandhiji said about this, God created man to work for his food and also said that those who are without work are thieves. And we find in Bible also that there are many instances where the dignity of the labor is stressed. And God said to the first man and woman that they must eat with their sweat. You can see what Vivekananda also said. Every duty is holy and devotion to duty is the highest form of worship of God. And we find this Kayakave Kailasa is again the famous proverb associated with Veerashaivism. What Lord Basveshwara says is, Kayaka is work done with absolute detachment and to fulfill the needs of both the individual and the society. We come across this important sloka in Bhagavad Gita, philosophy of karma. Karmanye vadikaraste. What is its meaning? You have the right to work only. No rights for the fruits thereof. Let not the fruits be your motive. Let not be attached to inaction. Now, I already said in the beginning that majority of you are in the teaching line. So, as a teacher, what is leadership? What is leadership? Teacher leadership. Teacher leadership, defined by York and Duke in 2004 itself, is the process by which teachers individually or collectively influence their colleagues, principals, and other members of the community to improve teaching and learning practices with the aim of increased student learning and achievement. So this is teacher leadership. Teacher leadership, the concepts of leading and teaching are so intertwined that every leader is a teacher and every teacher is a leader. So you are all leaders now. And teacher leadership is what? It's a way of organizing learning. It is a way of understanding the connections between knowledge and practice. It is the way of combining the explicit and tacit ways of knowing. Teacher leadership is a way of learning the skills, abilities, and capabilities for developing and nurturing community among the peers. It is a way of negotiating the tensions between privacy and the new view of community. So, what are the qualities of teacher leaders as a teachers? Qualities of teacher leaders as teachers. We should have these qualities: significant experience in their teaching fields. We should have excellent teaching skills. We should have extensive knowledge of teaching and learning curriculum and content area. We should have clearly developed a personality, a personal philosophy of education. You should be creative, innovative, seekers of challenge and growth. You have to take risks, and you should be lifelong learners. Qualities of teacher leaders as teachers. Again, you should have enthusiasm for teaching. You have to assume individual responsibility for actions. Respected, valued by the colleagues. Viewed as competent. You should be sensitive and receptivity to the thoughts and feelings of others. Cognitive and affective flexibility. You should be hardworking, able to manage workload. You should have strong administrative and organizational skills. So you have understood what teacher leaders as a teacher. Now, qualities of teacher leaders as leaders. As leaders, you have to build trust and rapport with colleagues, establish solid relationships, work collaboratively. You have to influence college culture through relationship, supportive of colleagues, promote growth among colleagues, effective in communicating, including good listening skills. You have to handle conflict. You have to negotiate and mediate. So again, few more qualities of teacher leaders as leaders. You should have the ability to deal with process, effective group processing skills, ability to assess and interpret and prioritize, solid understanding of organizational diagnosis. You should envision broader impact of decisions made by the administrators and teachers. So as your role as teacher leaders you are a resource provider, you are instrumental specialist, instructional specialist, curriculum specialist, classroom supporter, learning facilitator, you are the mentor, you are a school leader, college leader, you are a data coach, catalyst for change, you are a learner, you shape the culture, you improve the student learning, influence practice among their peers. So what teachers who lead, they do. Teachers who lead, what they do, they become inquirers, they provide leadership, they take risks, inspire their peers, work hard, organize noise, care about the content and character. And the personal care orientation is also important. These are all the qualities one should have. So coming finally, you should have a person with a positive attitude cannot be stopped, and a person with negative attitude cannot be helped. In other words, a person with a positive attitude is unstoppable. So you should have positive attitude. And now, balastu upadesha ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ತೀವಿ. There is no need for giving any ಉಪದೇಶ ಮಾಡಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ದಡ್ರು ಅದನ್ನ ಕೇಳೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಜಾಮ್ರಿಗೆ ಅದರ ಅವಶ್ಯಕತೆ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅಂತ. Success comes from knowing that you did your best to become the best that you are capable of becoming. So everybody has got a finger. You have that fingerprint also. So God gave you this fingerprint that no one else has. So you can leave an imprint that no one else can. You can see this picture again, the perfection. So my before I conclude, my sincere appreciation and congratulations to the entire team of JSS College for Women, Saraswati Param. This webinar is for you. Participate actively. There are very good speakers today and tomorrow. They'll be speaking on different subjects relating to nurturing of leadership, and make best use of this opportunity. Thank you all and wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir, for inaugurating the webinar and sharing your insightful thoughts. I extend my gratitude personally and on behalf of the college. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. S Ramesh, an accomplished academician. He is currently working as Professor and Dean, Center for International Programs and Partnership, PG Center, Mount Carmel College, Bangalore. The professor has completed 3 postdoctoral major research projects funded by the UGC and International Labour Organization. The professor was invited by the US Embassy to make a study of community colleges in US. Professor was also a distinguished member of Indian Delegation to Australia for skill-based education. In addition, Dr. S Ramesh is also a visiting professor at SBS Swiss Business School, Zurich, Switzerland. The professor has successfully guided 24 PhD students and has more than 45 research papers to his credit. The professor has authored 15 books in the areas of management and accounting. Currently, the professor is the Executive Secretary of Federation of Teachers, Council of Commerce and Management in Karnataka. We are proud to have such a distinguished academician with us today. Now I call upon Professor S. Ramesh to deliver the keynote address. Welcome you, sir.
Very good evening, everybody. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So, respected His Holiness, the members of the management, distinguished guests, esteemed principal, and my teacher friends, very happy to be here to share some thoughts on how to nurture leadership in higher education. So before I move on to the leadership issues that I would like to kind of develop on, what is the current status of education, and then maybe we can move on to the leadership issues. So if you look at the status of education today, friends, it seems that there was a man who was traveling by the boat, and the person who was guiding the boat happened to be some illiterate, and this man who was in the boat actually asked this man who was guiding the boat, do you know Ramayana, do you know Mahabharata and all that? This boatman said, no sir, I am an illiterate, I don't know anything. He said, you wasted 100% of your life. Then there was a small little hole in the boat, and that the water started gushing into the boat, and the person who was guiding the boat said, sir, do you know swimming? And this man said, although I have done my doctorate in swimming, I don't know how to swim. And then the boatman said, I'm sorry, sir, you have wasted all the 100% of your life today, and I can't save your life. At the same, there is another example that I would like to quote. It seems there was a small-time mechanic, and there was a person who's a PhD in automobile engineering, and they had some problem with his car. So he went to this small-time mechanic, and this mechanic hit the car with a small hammer somewhere, and the car started working. And this man who was owning the car asked his mechanic how much to pay. He said 5,000 rupees. Then the car owner said, just to hit my car, with a small hammer, you're asking me 5,000 rupees. Then the mechanic said, sir, to hit a car with your small hammer, it's only 5 rupees. But to tell you where to hit the car with the hammer, it is 4,995 rupees. So today, friends, what's happening in education field is that hundreds of graduates, thousands of graduates are coming out of our schools and universities and so on. But there is a need for us to kind of do some kind of an introspection as to kind of education that we imparted, the kind of individuals that really were produced. Are they able to meet the requirements of the industry, society, and maybe at the family at large? So this is the situation today. So in fact, if you look at the statistics, India is the largest democracy with 1.2 billion and robust, 1 point almost 3.3 billion today, a robust emerging economy, and 350 million are going to be added to the middle class. And 37% live below the poverty line, 70% live in rural areas, and 46 million Indians are only employed. Another 54, what is happening to them is an issue. And 80% of new labor market, they don't have any formal education at all or training. And please mind you, the gross enrollment ratio in higher education is only 36%, whereas compared to United States, which is 81%. So if you look at 7 million youth complete secondary education and only 36% is the gross enrollment ratio will come to the colleges. And please mind you, only 25% of these, at least those who are kind of educated, are employable. Another 75% absolutely are unemployable, which means that there's a total disconnect between the education and industry. And please mind you, 40% are under the age of 80, which means the India is going to have a demographic dividend, and that's going to be the greatest advantage for the country. Therefore, investing in high quality education, affordable education, and flexible education will be the national priority. It is in this context, actually, today we are talking about how that leadership can be kind of developed in institutions, leadership in the teacher, leadership in the student, leadership even among the institutions. Please mind you, 500 million jobs are going to be created in the country by 2022. But although these 500 million jobs are going to be available, but the greatest question is, do we have the required skill sets and competencies among the workforce? So the point is, how are we going to kind of fill this vacuum? So please mind you, at the same time, the another, at least the reality is 38% of NASA's workforce is Indian. Here, please mind you that here we are talking about only 25% are employable. On the contrary, in United States, 38% of NASA's workforce is Indian. And please mind you that there's such kind of a divide, and the kind of we have to really analyze the reasons. And the technological, and what is happening today in the education field is that technological change and disruption is taking place at a very jet speed. The kind of knowledge that we're imparting in the classrooms and the skills and competencies, leadership, communication, and other qualities that we are developing have become really outdated in no time. You take, for instance, even the best of the companies. You don't find a Nokia and a mobile phone. They were the market leaders one day. All of a sudden, there's a technology disruption, they're gone. Kodak company photograph, gone. So you find that the technology, new technology is coming up, and we not been able to kind of adapt these kind of new technologies that are coming up. In fact, when you're talking about technological development today, there is some kind of cyber knife surgery. It seems that a student, maybe a patient is sleeping in Mysore hospital, and the doctor is able to perform a surgery from United States in California. Patient, of course, it's successful. So these kind of technological changes have taken place. Curriculum, however, has remained the same. With us, for ages together, it is the same. And continuous learning is very essential, is the order of the day. In fact, a day will come that they're going to fix expiry dates for the degrees, that these degrees are valid for 5 years, 10 years. Like, the vaccine that now we're talking about, COVID, is going to be for 1 year, one more year again you take. So that's the way, even degrees, they're going to fix expiry dates, and probably that you have to relearn and go on. So that's the state today. And the funding of financial institutions is the greatest problem today. With the exit policy of the government, you find that education institutions have really been starving for funds. And there is a disconnect with the stakeholders fund education institutions. The industry, the parents, the students, this totally is some kind of a confusion and disconnect. And there's no connection between the job role and kind of, maybe the degrees that you do. A BSc graduate is working in a bank, and a commerce graduate working is in some laboratory. So you find that there is some kind of a disconnect between education and thing. So there is going to be a knowledge century. This is the knowledge century, and knowledge economy are going to be the things. So, and added to that, if you find, especially for the education institution, when you're talking about institutional leadership, there are efforts of foreign universities to come into India. There are already presence of so many US-based and UK-based universities which are already operating in India. So please mind you, the competition is not only with our own institutions, but with foreign universities and institutions. And the education, the cost of education has continuously been raising, and it really kind of, and at the same time, financial assistance is receding, and you find that there's going to be a big vacuum. How self-financing institutions could survive. So there is an increased participation, especially from the private sector. Corporatization of education is going to be the thing. So in fact, Reliance and so many other kind of business organizations have already entered the educational market. So there is another internal competition too from the corporate sector. So, and there is a greater fluidity in academic structure, because there's nothing becoming very certain with the new education policy going to come in. They're saying each college will become its own autonomy and they're going to award the degrees. But are we ready for that is the biggest, at least, question mark today. And merit is another issue which is going to be considered for job purposes. The reservation is wrong. And growth of deemed universities, autonomous colleges, and these are some of the kind of issues that you find at least in the education sector. Friends, another issue that you must also look at when we are really looking at leadership before we discuss leadership is that we are a party to the WTO agreement. Please mind you, under the WTO agreement, you find that these are the 4 things that are envisaged for the education services. Cross-border supply, that means today that you can, there are no geographic confines. Any university can go anywhere and operate. That's why if the WTO is really implemented, any university can open its shop in any part of the globe. Second thing is consumption abroad. That means students can freely go abroad without any restrictions on probably the visa and other things that, anyway, that no legal formalities have to be worked out. And third thing is the commercial presence, setting up programs, courses, and anybody can kind of come set up institutions in our country and offer any kind of programs. And the next thing that's going to happen is movement of natural persons. Teachers, any teacher can go any part of the globe and teach. Which means the implications of this WTO is education becomes a tradable commodity. Please mind you, education today is a charity in our country. But please mind you, it's going to be a tradable commodity, which means it like you can sell and buy commodities the same way, which means that any education institution also will be covered under the Consumer Protection Act. Once it is covered under the Consumer Protection Act, please mind you, if the teacher or education institution does not deliver the required quality and if the student does not get employed, he can always file a suit under the Consumer Protection Act saying that the commodity or the service that you have provided is not fit for consumption. That means, if they don't get employment, the degrees are not going to serve the purpose. He has every right to kind of go to court of law and say that, oh, I paid for this education and this has not been useful to me. In fact, it happened in the Harvard University. In fact, they offered a short-term program and that student, of course, maybe he's lack of his own skills or something, he could not get an employment, and he filed a suit against the university stating that there's a deficiency of service. So such things could really happen in our country too. So India will face an international competition, and Indian universities therefore are required to offer the international quality standards. Please mind you that you are going to offer the programs not to kind of compete with local institutions, but with international institutions. So there's going to be a rat race between both Indian and international institutions. Therefore, we need to offer and design relevant relevant courses. Today, that we are working in isolation. Somebody does the syllabus somewhere, and they have no idea of really what the market really needs. So there is a total disconnect between market and education. Friend, this is the context. I wanted to set the context in which that now we have to talk about leadership. This is the situation in education, and especially with the new education policy in the offing, we have to really wait and see what are going to be the issues. So in this context, how nurturing leadership through competencies becomes so important. What kind of competencies should we teacher should at least pick up, and he must pass it on to the student. And even education as an institution should also develop leadership. So this, when I'm talking about leadership, I have in mind the leadership of the institution, leadership of the teacher, leadership of the student. Friends, behavioral competencies really will be so important in leadership. So therefore, that you have to have intelligent cohesion, emotional cohesion, spiritual cohesion, people cohesion, social cohesion, and conflict resolution cohesion, and the national cohesion. So these are so important. These behavioral competencies should be developed by the teacher if he has to succeed in the institution. Even a student, for that matter, if he has to succeed in the industry or in the societal life, it is very essential. So intelligent quotient, of course, is we were talking about. Today we are talking about emotional quotient. That means, a teacher or a student, anybody for that matter, should have emotional intelligence. That is to see that when you need to what you need to speak, what kind of behavior to project, you must be very, very conscious, and you must use your emotions to your intelligence in order to get the work done. So when I talk about emotional intelligence, I really reminded of this example. It seems that the Nizam of Hyderabad was a very great man. He used to give charities to different institutions and universities. It seems one day that the Madan Mohan Malaviya, who built this Banaras Hindu University, went to ask for some contribution to this Nizam. Nizam was that day in a very great anger, and he said, "I am not going to give any contribution. Please get out." And he threw his chappal at Acharya. All that Acharya did is he took both these chappals thrown by the Nizam and went near a place called a Charminar, kept both the chappals there, and put a board, "Nizam's chappal is for auction." So many people gathered there, and so many people started bidding for a price, 10 rupees, 100 rupees. It went till 1,000 rupees and stopped. And Nizam came to know his chappal is going to be sold only for a few hundred rupees. He sent all his ministers with a bag full of lakhs of rupees of money to bid a highest price and get back the chappal. This Acharya wanted to build the money for the university. He did not get up when the chappals were thrown at him. What I'm trying to say, young friends, my friends, is emotional intelligence plays a very, very vital role. To be or not to be is a situation for every individual, whether it is in education or anyone. Even Sri Krishna Paramatma, even in the Mahabharata, said the issue is always to be or not to be. To taking a decision is the most difficult task one should probably do. So you must, if you have spiritual intelligence, I'm sure that automatically the emotional quotient will fall in place. So people quotient, mixing with people is most important, whether it's for a teacher or a student for that matter, that you must network. Until and unless you know a few teachers across at least other colleges, university, in the government, everywhere, until and unless that you network, your efficiency really will not really come into play. And resolve conflicts, whether it's students in the class, among the students in the class, with the management, with anybody for that matter. that it is essential that, as a leader, you must know how to kind of manage your conflicts. And the next thing that the behavioral competency is the national cohesion. Do you have the pride for the country? How many of us really, with a lot of happiness, celebrate Independence Day, buy a flag, and kind of host it? We feel that somehow it's below dignity to buy a national flag. National cohesion is also, we must kind of teach our students this national cohesion too. That's very essential. Well, when it comes to leadership, we also have to talk about managerial competencies. When you're talking about managerial competencies, it is very essential that you have to have a goal orientation. Until and unless there is a goal orientation, there cannot be leadership at all. That means you must foresee 5 years down the line, where are we going to be? 10 years down the line, as an institution, where are we going to be? Whether we're going to be university, we're going to be an autonomous college, we are going to be kind of a technical university, we're going to have a medical college. What is that? So goal orientation becomes very important in leadership, and at the same time, even creative communication skills are very important, whether for a student in employment or teacher in the class, or even for a management to kind of negotiate with anybody for that matter, communication. So I'm talking about communication, I don't say you have to use some maybe a flowery language and a good vocabulary to be very, very creative. So what you need to be is very humility in communication comes into a kind of very handy in handling situation. When I talk about communication, it seems that HMT, when they started manufacturing, they produced only 2 watches. And the public relation, and in the first year, they produced 1 machine. In the second year, they produced 2 machines. The public relations officer was going to give a press conference highlighting all the achievements of HMT. What he could have said, 1 in the first year, 2 in the second year. But look at this cleverness of this public relations man. He said, while addressing press, ladies and gentlemen, I do not want to go on and on about all the achievements of HMT very precisely without you wasting your time. I want to say there's 100% growth in HMT's production. 1 in the first year, 2 in the second year. It's a fact that it's 100% growth. Next day, all the newspapers carry headlines stating that there's 100% growth in HMT's production. And we go through only the headlines. So that's what creative communication is all about. The art of communication, friends, is not in really speaking in very at length, but the fact of communication is much more than what to reveal. It's the idea what to conceal is the art of communication. So that you have to have some team building skills too, that to develop these leadership qualities. Try to kind of build some teams within the class too. Divide a class into certain groups, assign them some group activities, so that they also develop some team building skills, presentation skills, participation skills through group discussions and role plays and things like that. You can use different methodologies. Another thing that the leader probably must really have is ability to manage crisis. The art of leadership, please mind you, is the sense of situation. How you can react to your situation is the hallmark of leadership. When I'm talking about crisis management, I'm reminded of this anecdote. It seems that the Albert Einstein, who came to fame, went around several universities delivering lectures. It seems that he was on his way to Brussels University and he forgot what he had to speak. And he told his driver, "We'll go back." The driver said, "Sir, don't worry. I will give the lecture. You be my driver. I'll be Einstein." Since they've not seen, both of us will go and deliver. Both of them agreed. And this driver, at least because he was used to that lecture, he was sitting in the last bench every lecture that Einstein used to deliver and listen. So he had by hearted that lecture and he gave that lecture. Einstein was sitting like a driver in the last bench, and this driver gave the much better, at least, lecture than Einstein could do. But at the end of lecture, one of the scholars asked him a very small question. Then this driver does not know how to answer this question. But he had great crisis management skills. He said, "It is such a silly question that you're asking me, being a great scholar, and this question will be answered by my driver." And he brought Einstein to answer this question. This is what the crisis management is all about. As a student of management, I would like to say that common sense made complicated is management. High degree of common sense, please mind you, will take you to any height and any part of the globe. So next thing that we have to come to is the domain competencies. As a teacher, it is very essential, if you have to be a leader, that subject knowledge is very, very essential, right from fundamentals to the kind of highest degree of knowledge. Reading more and more, referring more and more books, journals, and things like that will really take you to be a great leader. Until and unless you have the subject knowledge and depth, width and depth, people will not take you seriously. So, and apart from that, you should also be a good researcher. Just being a teacher not is good enough. Do continuous research on different problems of the industry, society, and then since contribute to the research, so you also grow. And some technical writing skills are also essential, and some global skills. So you should not limit your knowledge only to the local issues. You must go global and understand globally what's happening. And another thing that as a leadership quality that you must have is a initiative and the creativity. Until and unless you are a very creative person, people will not kind of really that you cannot attract the crowd. When I'm talking about very creativity, friends, I'm reminded of that very popular anecdote. It says Godrej, when they wanted to manufacture a hair dye, they brought that hair dye into the market and they thought it's only the urban people who will buy the hair dye. To their surprise, they saw a lot of rural people who were buying the hair dye. They didn't know why. When they conducted research, the research showed it seemed these rural people were buying the hair dye to dye the buffalo hair to fetch a better price. That's what creativity is all about. I mean, that it's only that anybody can be creative. It's just that you need to kind of think beyond the kind of, four walls and see that out of the box thinking is very, very essential, that you should develop even among the students through certain exercises. Quality of work, and the quality is also very, as somebody said, don't follow standards, set them. Don't follow somebody's standards, you set your own standards. In fact, you should also know not only the needs of the students, parents, and the stakeholders, not only the felt needs, but also the latent needs, the unknown needs for that matter. So it's very essential that we do that. Then cooperation and teamwork is also that, of course, Professor Betchel Bhatt has already spoken very beautifully about all the qualities. I am only kind of taking here one or two examples here. Reliability and commitment is another area. Commitment to the core. So as it is said, karmanye vadikaraste mapale shukadachana. Don't ask anything in return. Never ask anything in return. Just be doing something like a duty, and please mind you, returns will come to you in multiple times. As a leader, you must believe, you must sacrifice is the only way that you can build the at least leadership. So it seems when I'm talking about commitment, in Japan, when we went there, we went to meet the police commissioner and to take his permission to go around somewhere. And the police commissioner said, there are a lot of thieves in Japan, but please mind you, they're not going to harm the tourists' interests at all. They don't steal the tourists. It seems, they're thinking if they steal the tourists are not going to the country and the country's economy will go down. That's the kind of commitment the Japanese thieves have. What I'm saying is very essential to have some kind of high degree of commitment. Support to diversity. Also, always support diversity. Do not kind of look at only the local issues and things like that. And get more and more students from different parts of the globe, different parts of the country, different communities, which we should develop a more inclusive society. That is most important. And especially the neglected, the poor, the downtrodden, and so on. Give a selfless service to them and you develop leadership. And even problem solving is another area that you must really focus upon. So when I'm talking about problem solving, that any problem can be solved because nobody manufactures a lock without a key. There's always a solution to the problem, whether it's a student related, management related, university related, anything that matter, parent related. It's just that you have to really apply mind. Please mind you, as long as your intentions are honorable, solution will come by itself. You see, it seems when Lakshman actually that also almost was going to kind of die, they wanted some Sanjeevani, at least in a herb. They sent Hanuman. Hanuman went around. he could not find that particular at least tree or plant. And at least what did he do? He had to carry the mountain itself. So what he did, he grew much bigger than a mountain and carried the mountain. So grow much bigger than the problem when you're stuck in a leadership issue. And if you grow much bigger than the problem itself, I'm sure that you should be able to kind of solve any kind of a problem. Another thing that as a teacher, leader, or student must do is multitasking. Do not only do one thing at a time. You must be able to do several things at a time. Not merely only that you're good in teaching, it does not really help. You should play multiple roles in the sense that you should be good, for instance, in sports, other activities, talking about whether it's NSS or maybe that college related activities, going to seminars, and a number of multiple activities you should really be able to kind of do. You should not only teaching is not only the duty, but research, other activities, development of constant curriculum, and various other issues that you must kind of be able to kind of do, mentoring students and so on. So eagerness to foresee is the greatest quality in a leader. You must be able to foresee 10 years down the line how my college is going to be, 15 years down the line how my college, what are the new courses that are required, what does the industry need, what does the parents needs are, what are the students need, what's going to be the new methodology that's going to come up. So this kind of forethought is very essential for educational leadership. And even that ability to change, as somebody said, the greatest challenge on this earth is change is the only thing which is constant. Rest all are changing change is the only thing which is very uncertain. Rest are all very uncertain. Change is only certainty. Rest all is uncertainty. So try to at least see how you can kind of change management is essential. Changing yourself, changing the habits and behavior of the students is the primary responsibility of a teacher. Today we had Gurukula system. In fact, when Dronacharya asked for the thumb, that Ekalavya ultimately said, yes, please take it, without any kind of that. Those kind of students that you must kind of develop. And if we have commitment, I'm sure that we should be able to do it. Different ways of doing things. So different methodology that today 101 things have come up in terms of methodology. So you talk about role play, you talk about a case, you talk about webinars, video conferencing, a number of things that you can kind of look at and be very creative. So only chalk and talk does not help. Take them outside and see kind of how you can kind of develop skills in them. Because today what's happening, there's a totally disconnect between what education we are giving and where these students are going, where are they getting employed, what knowledge that we imparted is useful or not is another thing. So establish rapport quickly with stakeholders like parents, industry, and others, and take the membership of several professional bodies, network them, get them to the campus, companies, and so on, placements. These should happen. Effective in a cross-cultural setting too, and your ability to learn very quickly is another thing. I'm going to be a little fast because I have only 1 minute left. Capable of handling ambiguity, difficult situation, and handle stress. You should be able to handle stress of yourself and the students too. And the world is full of handling uncertainty and confusion is another area. How to manage your image through your own highest integrity is the hallmark of any teacher. No matter what we are going to do, even if you're going to lose crores of rupees or gain crores of rupees, integrity is going to be the great thing in order to manage the brand. Succession planning and building a second line leadership in your own department, in your college, to become principal, to become HOD, these are also essential. Addressing the needs of the stakeholders is one more thing. So friends, in fact, that I have to wind up today, but in conclusion, I want to say it is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one which will be more responsive to the change is what is not. So ultimately that it is said, thoughts lead to words, words lead to action, action lead to habits, habits lead to character, and character, please mind you, will lead to destiny. And it is, mind you, it is the teacher who can shape the destiny of a teacher. As long as that we are committed, I'm sure all the leadership qualities come by itself only if we have, as I told you, that the ability to sacrifice ourselves for the cause of individuals, students, parents, and ultimately the nation. It is said there's no country which is developed or underdeveloped. It is either led, well led, or misled. So with this sum, I'm sure that you're going to pick up some qualities to become great leaders. I'm sure I thank the management for giving me this good opportunity to share some thoughts with you. And I am sure that you can also contribute quite a lot. And this was a very great learning experience for me to kind of be with you. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen.
I thank Dr. S. Ramesh for having delivered a thoughtful keynote address. Thank you, sir. Now we shall move on to the technical session 1. The resource person for the current session is Professor Rajiman Thomas. The professor is a military leadership trainer of the Indian Air Force. The professor has wide-ranging experience in teaching, corporate training, talent development, and counseling. The professor has a doctorate in leadership from Catholic University of America, USA. In addition, the professor also has masters in international business from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, New Delhi. The professor also completed his executive education in knowledge management from IIM Bangalore. He has served the Indian Air Force for nearly 20 years at various places and levels in India. He has authored a book titled Look East. Servant leadership is the key to success, longevity, and sustainability. Currently, he is working as professor and head corporate relations of Ramaya Institute of Management Studies, Bangalore. I'm glad to welcome Professor to take charge of the first technical session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to share the screen very much. Respected Dr. C.G. Betsmuth, Dr. Ramesh, Dr. K.V. Suresh, Dr. H.P. Suresh, eminent teachers, administrators, and all others. I'm so happy to be here. Indeed, it gives me a great pleasure to associate with this great seminar on nurturing leadership. Leadership is very close to my heart, and especially the topic 7, leadership. But today we are going to talk about teacher leadership. Teachers are the greatest hope in the world, a rare hope, a teacher, a leader. And my topic today is on personal effectiveness, educational leadership through personal effectiveness. And being effective is a very important activity today. Whatever the area we are expected to be effective. Whatever the job you do it, in the organization, in the home, we're expected to be as much as possible effective. So the personal effectiveness is a tough job today. And the few minutes we are going to look into this particular aspect of effectiveness. Life itself is defined as leadership, integrity, faith, excellence. So any area of your life, you are a leader. And you need to show excellence. There is a statement by Dr. Martin Luther King. He said about a street sweeper. He came to heaven, all the angels stood up, clapped, and said, here comes a great street sweeper. That's what excellence. And it's not easy, but with practice, yes, definitely we can move into excellence, and that's what we can say it. The future is going to come. The future is more amalgamation of technology and human. And how to mix these two and manage is a big challenge. And that's what leadership and education is a very important topic today. The basic purpose of education is to empower an individual, empower a student. And empower means give power to him, put power inside him. And that's not easy, and that's what the purpose of education. Every child is born genius. She is gifted with potential in at least one area. And that's what Swami Vivekananda said, Every child is born perfect. And it's very important to express that perfection through education. So she comes with the right to earn a successful life, and the education system must enable, empower, enable. And that's what education is there. And it says that Industry 4 needs a better prepared workforce. Who can give it? Only education can provide. Education can give it. So Industry 4 and Education 4 denotes changes to align to Industry 4. And that's what a lot of policy changes happening. Even the NEP, the new education policy, is basically to aim and align with Industry 4.0. And that's another challenge we can see. So the future is full of challenges, but we need to manage this particular challenge. This is a picture, I got it on Father's Day. When I was sharing a topic on Father's Day to an organization, I shared this particular picture. A father is holding an umbrella during the rain, the great Mangalore rain, and his daughter is studying online. And this is what leadership is everywhere. Trusting time will bring leadership in people. So Narayana is holding an umbrella during a heavy rain to his daughter during online class outside her home due to lack of signal. In Sulia, in Karnataka, this is an infrastructure problem. It's very important for us to provide signal, provide technology for students so they can learn, but they find out ways, they find out means. That's what leadership is all about. Leadership is more about sacrifice. Any area, either in the organization, institution, or in the home, we are expected to sacrifice it. That's what one example. There is a beautiful program is going to happen on Friday, and this is being brought by Economic Times as well as Mercedes-Benz. Find out leaders under 40. And Vinod Khosla, a great leader, Indian American, is going to deliver a beautiful lecture. And you just watch it, Vinod Khosla, in the net, you can get a lot of information. Mercedes-Benz is bringing this particular one. Why? They wanted to be a leader in the particular sector of automobiles, the car, the luxury sector. Last week, they brought one of the best super luxury cars in India, and that is Mercedes-Benz S6 SUV. Wanted to be a leader. Everywhere there is leader and leadership issues, you can see it, and that's what it is. So, what is personal effectiveness? Why it is very important? Effectiveness is a big challenge. Life management is not about busyness, it is about effectiveness. Measure on the major things in life, not the minors. And that's what it said, first thing first. And that's what effectiveness. How to give concentration, attention, focus on the major things. Sometimes minor things can come in and become major. We become ineffective. So efficiency is all about is to do what is effective. And that's what we become effective in every area. But there is a difference between efficiency and effectiveness. Efficiency is the foundation for survival, but effectiveness is the foundation for success. One side survival, other side success. We need to manage both the things. Peter Drucker, Mahaguru of management, he differentiated efficiency and effectiveness. He said efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right thing. Things right and right thing. And that's what efficiency and effectiveness will come. So teaching effectiveness and leadership emergence is an important activity. Brian Tracy said, one of the most important rules of personal effectiveness is the 10-90 rule. And we all know about the 10-90 rule. We have control on the 90% of things in our life, but 10% of things we don't have control. 10% of things happen to us. What happened to us and coming from the external environment, we have no control, but we have control in 90% of things. And that's what effectiveness. So effectiveness is what? Putting or managing the 90% of things happening in our life. And that's what it's. So we need to invest in that 90%. When people say invest in you, it is investing in that 90%. As we know, as you know, what is investment? Investment is the loss of present to advantage the future. Either it is investing the time or investing money, the finance. It is you take something from the present and put it in the future. That's what it said. Investment is taking a piece of your present and transferring it into your future. It's painful. We don't like it. It's very difficult. I wanted to spend all the money in the present, go for shopping. I wanted to spend all the time in leisure, but that's not what make me effective. What is going to make me effective is investing wisely, investing where we supposed to invest it. And that's what investment. Where need to invest? We need to invest in learning, more learning. And that's what learn and lead is a very important combination. As somebody said, the more you learn, the more you can lead. As market principle, it says, learn more to earn more. And we need to lead. We have to lead. To lead, we need to learn more. Have some pictures it says about it. So it says a teacher is showing a placard and says, I'm a teacher leader because my students deserve the best. So I'm always learning. Learning is very, very important. Learning is the greatest companion of a teacher. And we all learn. All the teachers learn. Why? You have to stand in front of students. Have another placard, it says 2 placard. And the second placard, it says, I'm a teacher leader. I'm a teacher leader because leading is learning and learning is leading. Why? I wanted to become more effective. I'm a teacher leader because leading is learning and learning is leading. And it says a teacher leader is a lifelong learner. A teacher leader is a lifelong learner. So how we can become more effective? It's only through spending time in learning many things. And that's what we see it here. So it says leadership is not about titles or position. It is about one life influencing another. And that's what leadership is all about. So leadership is how we influence students, how we influence colleagues, how we influence the people supposed to be influenced. And that's what leadership is a very important thing. It is lifting people. It is helping them. It is mentoring them. The mentoring students to lead a greater life. And that's what we see here. So John Quincy Adams said, if your actions inspire others to learn more, dream more, do more, become more, you are a leader. A teacher is a leader. Teachers will always inspire students to learn more, to dream more, to do more, and to become more. And that's what a teacher. So a teacher becomes what? A teacher leader. So you are a teacher leader. Every teacher is a leader in the classroom. And there is no doubt about that particular one. You know, recently, last Sunday, a few days back, the Prime Minister of India inspires people to shed vaccine hesitancy, a big challenge for a national leader. And a lot of things coming into the vaccine, and people believe a lot of things. So Prime Minister wanted to clarify that particular one. So he wanted to create trust. And he said during the Man Ki Baat last Sunday, he said, trust science, trust scientists. And it's very important to that rumors are there and how to overcome the rumors and trust where the trust is supposed to be. So trust and leadership will always go. It's a big challenge to put trust and bring trust in the equation. So in his Man Ki Baat on Sunday, June 27, 2021, he reached out to the people in tribal areas, He reached out to people. No, it's very important for a leader to reach the unreached. It's easy to reach the city. Is how to reach the tribal people in India. Even the student, even the teacher, it's a big challenge to reach the weakest link. The leader will always take initiative to be with the weakest link. And that's going to be a big challenge. That's what we see. So leadership, as you heard a lot of definitions, even today, the leadership, the beautiful simple definition is the ability to influence the behavior. Ability to influence the behavior and create a positive behavior in the people under your control. And that's what leadership is all about. Somebody asked, can you spell leadership? Answer came, INFLUENCE. And that's what leadership is all about. And it's not easy. So the word leader came from a Latin word, Laden. And that's what you heard Bin Laden, who destroyed the WTC, World Trade Center. So what is the meaning of this word Laden in Latin? In Latin, the meaning of Laden means to travel along or to show the way. To show the way. So leader is who? Leader is somebody that's showing the way. A teacher in the classroom will teach definitely, but he or she will always show the way. Show the way. The students can grow. The students can travel towards his or her destiny. So how we can define leader? A leader is the one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And that's what defined by John C. Maxwell. So he says somebody knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. And that's what leader is always with his or her team or his or her classroom. And that's what we can say. So good teachers teach, great teachers inspire. We all know this particular quotation. And that's what expectation of a teacher. A leader will always inspire. A great teacher will always inspire. I just wanted to share an incident happened last week. Near to us. So a girl student 20 booked for marrying a 17-year-old boy. 17-year-old boy. It's happened here. It's happened last week. So a 20-year-old BSc student from Bangalore has been booked by Chikmagaluru police on charges of marrying a 17-year-old boy whom she met on Facebook. The women married the youth on June 2021 despite opposition from her family, and police said. So this is what happened to a student, and they are booked by the police, and that's what you can see. This is one incident. I got another incident in news last week, and it says a first-year degree student took around 300 online certificates during the lockdown. It's possible. You know, one side, what happened going behind the Facebook, other side, what happened. It's both online, it's both internet. So it can be used for good, it can be used for bad. That's what teaches as a leader's importance concept, practical life. We see it. So it's very important to influence, inspire students. And that's what teacher leaders' job. How we inspire, how we influence is a big challenge, is a huge challenge. So social pressure is everywhere. It's on teacher, it's on students, it's on everybody, social pressure. The question, it's on you to take the pressure or not. How to overcome that particular pressure. How the pressure should not take you, but you should take the pressure is a real challenge, There is positive or negative side to everything. Everything you take, there is advantages, there are disadvantages. But the challenge is utilize free time wisely. Students have got more free time because of online classes. Now, how to invest it, how to utilize it, how to use it is another challenge. That's what you can see. I heard another word, social currency. There are financial currency, now it is social currency. You know, this is the positive side, and we can use the social media to create social currency. It's a social currency that refers to the value that people have built up in terms of their interactions, influence, and the potential for social influence or success. And that's what we see, social currency, how influence socially. And that's what we can create social currency. We need to teach students to create more social currency. So your value in the marketplace, value in the society is going to increase. And that's what we can see it. So a teacher, a teacher leader thinks beyond the walls of their classroom to what their impact can be, how to create social currency, how to create social impact. And for that, sometimes we need to go beyond the walls, be with the students, encourage them, motivate them, inspire them is a big challenge. So leadership is not a day job, 9 to 5 affair. It is around the clock. Wherever you are a leader. In the home, you are a leader. In the classroom, you are a leader. Wherever you go, in the community, in the society, you are a leader. It's around the clock. So leadership is an evolving process that embraces the whole life, your professional life, your personal life. And we are evolving. Every day we are evolving. Every day we are improving. Every day we are becoming a better teacher. And that's what we can see. When we define, expand the word leadership, and this is what one of the explanation I got it, I just want to share with you. So the L stands for influence, E teamwork, A communication, D decision, and E management, R contribution, S vision, H ethics, and I, that is motivation, and the last one is responsibility. So every leader is responsible. Every class teacher, a teacher is responsible, and teacher's responsibility is too huge, too huge. And that's what we can see it. We need influence. At the same time, we need to fulfill our responsibility, and that's what we can see. I was just looking into the great leaders of this particular year, the Fortune magazine, Fortune 500. Fortune magazine, May issue, brought the great leaders in the world, the world's greatest leaders. A woman emerged as the greatest leader in the world, the greatest leader in the world, Jacinda Ardern, Prime Minister of New Zealand. The last week, New Zealand defeated India in the test match, a tiny nation excelling in cricket itself is a case study. Jacinda Ardern become the greatest leader in the world. Just wanted to give the 10 names, and it says mRNA pioneers. And this particular one is provided the vaccine to Pfizer. The Pfizer vaccine, the world's most efficient vaccine. Pfizer spent $2 billion, approximately 15,000 crores rupees to invent the vaccine. Too costly. A company spent this much money for vaccines. Dan Schumann, CEO PayPal, and Dr. John Nicholson, the head of African Disease Control Prevention, NBA Rescues USA, that is National Basketball Association, and Jessica Tan, co-CEO, Executive Director, Ping and Group, a Chinese doing a great job in China. Then Justin Welby, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Stancy Abraham, the founder of Fair Fight, and Rashona Fitzpatrick, pastor proceeding World Church Chicago. The 10th position, an Indian emerged to be one of the greatest leaders in the world. The 10th position is holding by Indian, and you know this person, and he emerged during the pandemic. And number 10 is Adar Punewale, the world's largest vaccine manufacturer CEO, the CEO at Serum Institute of India, the world's largest manufacturers. So this is what you see, the Fortune leaders, the 12 leaders. I don't have time to explain with all of them, but I just want to take the first person, Jacinda Ardern, and just share a few things about this lady, how she emerged as the greatest leader. And the last month, the rating has given us the greatest leader in the world, Jacinda Ardern. So she says, one of the criticisms I have faced over the years is that I'm not aggressive enough or assertive enough because I'm empathetic. It means I'm weak. I refuse to believe that. Teacher, many times you might have faced the criticism that you are so empathetic. You're weak. You're not assertive. You're not aggressive. But she says, I'm empathetic. I'm compassionate. That doesn't mean I'm weak. A teacher is always compassionate. A teacher is always empathetic. And that's what you move into great leadership position. Her work during the COVID-19 was tremendous. She did a very good job. The entire world appreciated her. And with this compassion and empathetic nature, the world said that she is the most powerful woman in the world. The world rated her as the most powerful women in the world, with empathy, with sympathy, and with lot of heart, you can become powerful. And that's what this particular case study is showing us. The Time magazine knows us by our deeds and her work. The world praised her particular work. And she said, I want to be a good leader. What a good lady leader. Wanted to be a good leader. And that should be our aim, how we can become a good leader. As a teacher, it's possible. It's possible. Every day we are growing towards that particular one, and that's what we can see it. As a family person, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, Ms. Jacinda Anderson, took 6 weeks maternity leave in 2018. 2018. And after maternity leave, she came back, and in the 2020 election, she got re-elected as Prime Minister. And that's what we can say. So balancing work and family can be extremely challenging at times, especially for women, and especially for women teachers, balancing work and family. But people are excelling in this world. And that's what leadership tells us. That's what leadership shows us. And this is what we can see it. So some leadership lessons from Jacinda Ardern. Jacinda Ardern. The world asked a question. Why does everyone love Jacinda Anderson? Why does everyone love Jacinda Ardern? So what are the 7 leadership lessons we can learn from this women? Number 1, stay humane, stay humble, stay compassionate, stay human is very important. Hop over fear, show a ray of hope. Wherever you go, wherever you stand, just show a ray of hope. Unite, not divide. You are there to unite. You are there to take as a team, a classroom as a team, institution as a team. Change takes time. Be patient wherever it is. Students will not change so fast. It will take time. We need to be patient. Avoid the bubble. The bubble can be there, and there is no rumors can be there. The negative situations can be there, but you need to overcome that. Focus on we, not I. And that's what leadership. Leadership will carry everybody today. Focus on we is very, very important. Last one, listen to expert advice and act on it. As a leader, you get advice, you get suggestions. You need to take the best, but always go for the expert. Normally, they are right. And that's what Prime Minister of India said. It's very important to trust science and trust scientists, trust experts. And that is one of the leadership qualities you can see. So this is what I just wanted to share with the greatest leader as of now in the world. So great leaders move us, and they know how to move. They know how to move the classroom. They know how to move the organization to be where it should be, towards the objective created by organization. Through resonance with others, through our emotions, they take us. They take us from point A to point B. And that's what great leaders, they're always great carriers. So the goal of leadership is to move people. The goal of leadership, teacher leadership, is move students, move them towards excellence, move them towards success. And that's what is, as we said, the purpose of education is to empower them, empower students. That's very important. Now, how to be a teacher leader? How to be a teacher leader? I have a few points to share, but I don't have the time to explain full. And point number 1, it's a be the thing you teach. You need to be the example. You need to stand with great passion. You need to show them, I love this subject. I like this particular topic. And that bubbling passion is very important. So be the thing you teach, and students will appreciate that. There is no doubt. The second one, be the expert of your classroom. And that's very important. So what are the subject you teach? You need to be expert in that. It won't happen easily. Definitely it will take time, but it will happen. It will happen. So spend time, invest your time in learning is very important. Point number 3, it's a be data savvy. So it's very important. You need to do the research. You need to know the latest. Always try to bring the latest into the classroom. Students will definitely appreciate it. And the research and the latest information, update current information is very, very important. And that's what be data saving. The fourth point, it say, be continually reflective of your practice. What are the area of practice? Whatever the area is studying, you need to reflect it on wherever the changes are required. Incorporate that particular changes and bring it to the forum. Point number 5, it says, be able to defend your practice. And that's very important. Students will challenge sometimes. People will ask questions and you need to defend it. You need to give the answer, appropriate answer, humble answers to tough questions. Point number 6, be informed about education. As you know, the policies are changing. As the industry is changing, policies are changing. I was reading an article on education by 2030. Next 10 years, how the education in India is going to change. So a teacher should be on the move to know the policy changes, and especially NEP is going to bring new education policy. 2020 is going to bring a lot of changes into the forum. And point number 7, be positive and solution oriented. It's not easy. It's easy to be problem oriented. It's easy to complain. It's easy to criticize. That's anybody can do it. But a great teacher, a leader teacher will always be the part of solution oriented. Be positive and solution oriented is very important. The last point here is rise above the turbulence. There are situations, there are challenging situations. We are standing on crisis. We're standing on storms, and it's very important to manage it. The turbulence, rise above the turbulence. Always be in peace. And anything or nothing should take away your peace, and be peaceful in the classroom. You can manage well, you can be a great leader. And that's what I just wanted to share, how to be a teacher leader. You are a teacher leader. There is no doubt. I got information in today's newspaper about cycling. So COVID push for pedal power. That's what teachers will bring the latest information to the classroom. Netherlands is a country where 58% population move cycles. India is catching up. India, especially in Karnataka, Bangalore, Mysore, the habit of cycling is getting increased. This is one of the research. One of the information came in today's newspaper. I just wanted to bring into you. The teachers will bring the latest information to the classroom, and there is no doubt about that particular one. It's one of the greatest leaders living in this world today. This American President Joe Biden. Joe stands for Joseph Biden. And especially last week in the G7 meet happened in Britain, we have seen his initiative. He went to Geneva to meet Russian president, and they talk. And he said there is a lot of power in face-to-face communication. He talked to them. When he got elected and became the president this year, January, the American media said, be a biblical Joseph. There is a story of Joseph in the Bible who gave food to the people. Said, give food, unite, heal. Even America, they need food. People need some kind of people. A certain percentage of population, they need food. Give food, unite, heal. And that's what leadership. That's what leadership is all about. So Joe Biden may be the most powerful person in the world, bending in front of a child, in front of a young boy. He says to the world, yes, I can bend. A leader can bend. A teacher can bend. Sometimes we need to bend and show to the world, yes, I can bend. As American president, I can bend. And that's what he said. And his excellence was when he selected, choose his vice president, Kamala Devi. And Kamala Devi became the vice president of America, maybe the president of America, future president. 50 years ago, 60 years ago, 50 years ago, end of 1950s, her mother, at the age of 19, she has traveled alone to America to study. Today, it's very easy to travel, but 50 years ago, it was very difficult for a girl to travel. She traveled there. Her daughter became the vice president of America. Kamala Devi Harris the first woman vice president of United States of America. And it says she becomes the highest ranking woman ever to serve in the US government. And that's what the opportunity. I don't think India we allow. That great country allowed her to be the vice president, maybe the president of America, future. And she stays in this beautiful house. The government gave her this beautiful house. So number one observatory, home of the US Vice President Washington, a 72-acre plot in the heart of city, Washington, DC, as mini forest, and she stays in that particular one. And when you looked into, I studied this particular lady, and a few years ago, she was walking without the picture or the exposure to the world. He was walking for Barack Obama in 2007, 2008, and he contested as American president. And this is a picture taken on December 31st, 2007 in Iowa State, and its capital Des Moines. And this is what your homework. People may not say, this is a night picture. December 31st is very cold in America, and this girl is walking in darkness, and that's what your work will be rewarded. People may not see your homework, but definitely you'll be rewarded for your hard work and your homework, and that's what a picture I just wanted to share with you, and this is what you see. So I normally give a kind of assignment. It says, what is the first word? But we don't have a time for this particular one, and I just move it. Just wanted to say, all teachers are leaders. It is in the nature of teaching. Every teacher standing in front of students, remember, you are a teacher for that group. And that's what it said. You are already a teacher. You need to bring greatness into that particular job. So whatever happened to you, whatever situations you are in, it says, no matter how you feel, get up, dress up, shop. That's what life is all about. No matter. So many things happen to us. As Brian Tracy said, we don't have control on things happen to us, but we have control on things happening in us. So get up, dress up, shop for the next show. And that's what life, that's what leadership. Wherever you are, you're expected to do this particular one. And that's what I just wanted to share with the class. So let me stop it here as my time is close, getting close. A teacher is a leader. A teacher is a leader. Bring effectiveness into that. That is not possible. Lifelong learning. So never hesitate the time in lifelong learning. So all the best for all the leaders listening to me. Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. God bless.
Thank you for your valuable contribution in the session, sir. It was a wonderful presentation. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, now house is open for question and answer. We have a question here.
Okay.
How to improve our communication skill? It's from Sushmita TK.
Yeah, what I do is I listen to great speakers. I listen to them. So listening is one of the greatest activity you can do to improve your communication. And the next one is reading. Read lot. A reader is a leader. Read more to lead more. When you read, automatically you have more control on your words, on your language. These are the two things. And what I do I listen to a lot of speakers. That's what one of the things I do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more question is from Uma M. Does appearance matters in leadership?
Yes, it's not dress. It is your body language. Yes, dress also matters. Now, first impression is the best impression. Now, how we create first impression? First impression, as a psychologist says, will be created within 17 seconds. You meet a person, and before you open your mouth and say, I am so and so, the first impression is created. By what? The way you dress and the attitude you show. So your appearance is a combination of your dress plus your attitude. That is body language. And that's what business will always believe in, power dressing. So appearance is very important.
I want to add, Dr. Raji, for that.
Yes, sir.
It's always, up to some time, at least once till you make a name in the market, dress is essential. But once you receive, if Amitabh Bachchan goes with a white chappal, no, it's people say he's such a simple man.
Correct.
Higher you go, he says that look at this fellow doesn't have even buy a chappal also. So that's the way.
Exactly.
Until you make some name, of course, the appearance is essential.
It's very, especially formal dressing sometimes.
Absolutely.
Very important. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Sir, one more question is from Shwetavar.
Yes.
Which type of leadership is required while teaching the students?
See, I specialize in servant leadership. And servant leadership is the best leadership you can see. So I shared the 10 greatest leaders in the world. Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister of New Zealand, and she's showing kind of a servant leadership to the world. And some people criticize, she's so empathetic, compassionate, and she's weak. And what she said, I won't accept that. I won't accept that. But we need to be aggressive. We need to be assertive. But time to time, we need to change. But a teacher, see, a father in the home, where is the father's position in the home? He's a founder. And founder means what? He's a foundation. He carries everybody. He serves to everybody. Everybody. So the best leadership a teacher should show, as per me, it is servant leadership. What Krishna said to Arjuna, Arjuna, allow me to be your chauffeur, to charioteer, for the dharma to win. Now, when you take in the Bible, Jesus Christ said, I came to serve, not to be served. A teacher is there to serve. And that's what servant leadership emerges. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now we are at the end of today's program. Now I request our beloved principal, Dr. K.V. Suresh, to propose oath of thanks.
Good evening, all. Before going with the vote of thanks, there is an announcement to all the participants. All the participants are requested to log in tomorrow also, same time 3 p.m. for technical session 2 and technical session 3. I request all of you to log in again using the same link. There will not be any other link given. Once again, good evening. Offering my humble pranams to Guru Parampara of Sri Suttur Mutt. My salutations to President Swamiji of Suttur Mutt, Shivaratri Deshikendra Mahaswamiji. I take this opportunity to profusely thank our beloved Executive Secretary for having inaugurated and given a thoughtful, inauguration address. I thank Professor S Ramesh, who has delivered a very meaningful keynote address. I thank the resource person, Dr. Regiment Thomas, having given very thoughtful, presentation about the effectiveness of teachers. And I thank our beloved director, Marabada Mallikarjun sir, director of College Education Division, Sri B. Niranjan Murthy, Assistant Director of College Education Division, the CE, Chief Executive of BV Sambashivaya sir of JSS College for Arts, Commerce and Science, Uti Road, then Professor K.S. Suresh, Chief Executive of JSS Law College, Mysore, and all the principals of other 6 degree colleges of JSS Mahavyapita. And I also thank all the teachers who have participated in this seminar, the webinar, the teachers from our own college and the sister concerns and outside colleges also. I thank all the staff members of my college and the team members, and I am very much a special thanks to the JSS AHER team led by Dr. R. Ravindra, who have supported us, and we request them to extend the support tomorrow as well. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, one and all.